roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is the Adam Carricker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carricker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carricker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carricker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carricker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carricker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Dude, the weather in Lincoln, Nebraska is phenomenally phenomenal. I don't even know what the temperature is, but I am outside in like the garage area doing stuff, and I'm opening the doors and I'm opening the windows because I want the breeze and I want the outside air coming inside because it feels better. And we don't have AC out there. And then we turn on the fan and it's like, dude, is this summer? I'm knocking on wood, which is, you know, my head for those who can't hear. I don't know. Is this wood? Is this plastic? What is this, Jake?
I think it's wood.
All right, I'll just cover all my bases here. Knock on both. Like, the weather is phenomenal. There's not a ton of humidity. It's absolutely glorious. Watch, a week from now, it'll be like 100 degrees and 95% humidity, and I'll be in here whining, complaining, and moaning. But in the meantime, welcome into the Adam Carricker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. All right, you know what you're going to get. Husker sports, college football, sports in general, unique insight, unbridled honesty. Producer Jake and I are going to have a whole lot of fun in the process. Today, what's on the docket? Caitlin Clark. We haven't talked a lot about her. She's been brought up a couple of times. Do you think she's the most popular basketball player on the face of planet Earth right now?
I would probably say LeBron. I mean, there might be a name or two above her, but right up there.
Do you think she's the most talked about basketball player on the face of planet Earth right now? Popular and talked about can be two different things.
Yeah, I would say LeBron. No, probably like the same thing because there's always the LeBron MJ debate. But yeah, I mean, she could be number one now.
I think she's number one. Respectfully, there is no LeBron MJ debate. I didn't even screenshot the thing. I've seen it like 5 times. Okay, normally I would have screenshot it and I would have shared it. No player has lost more, like, what is it, NBA Finals, FIBA World Cup, not World Cups, but like playing games, Olympic Games, whatever it is. It's like all these things that were listed out, and obviously these are not pro LeBron folks that were posted. I saw it like 4 or 5 different places yesterday alone. Like, when you look at some of the things that Jordan accomplished from 6-0 to everything else, then, you know, LeBron's got the 4 titles. He's obviously one of the best to ever do it. But when you compare the two, like, if we're going to compare the two, if we're going to say, is LeBron one of the greatest of all time? Yes, hands down. If we're going to say, is he the GOAT, you're going to compare him to Jordan. I don't think, in my opinion, that is a realistic debate when you consider, and it's interesting to me because the longer he plays, I feel like people almost hold LeBron's longevity against him. Now, what's going along with that is the longer he plays, he hasn't continued to win championships or make it to the finals. So what happens is his stats go up. But then what people do is they'll say he has X amount of points, but Jordan had X amount of points in X amount of years. So the longevity for Jordan was great, but it wasn't quite the same as LeBron's. Also, LeBron was straight out of high school, so he had a jump start to begin with. But people almost want to like hold that against LeBron because he keeps continuing to play longer and longer, which in of itself is insanely impressive, but he's not continuing to add titles or other things of that nature. And so it's like every time you lose and you add something to that L column, it's kind of referring to the graphic, which I did not screenshot because I was not going to bring it up. But then you brought up the Jordan LeBron wannabe debate. And so here we are. LeBron's one of the GOATs, probably one of the top 5 players of all time. We can debate who should be on that list if we want. I did screenshot this. Okay, I wasn't going to lead off the show with this, but here we go. Well, obviously we're going to talk a little bit of LeBron and Shaquille O'Neal's the screenshot I've got, top 10 greatest players of all time in his mind. Okay, so we can debate that a little bit. But Caitlin Clark, is it's interesting because I saw a clip from Colin Cowherd. We're going to play it here in a bit. And I had kind of likened what's happening to her in my own mind to what happened to Jordan early on. The bad boy Pistons, I mean, they just tried to beat the crap out of him. And they tried to bully him a little bit. And they were able to. And even the Celtics a little bit, not to the degree of the Pistons. But it was kind of like Jordan got beat up early on in his career. And there's videos of him talking about got to get stronger, got to get in the weight room, getting in the weight room and actually putting on some weight and toughening up and things of that nature. And then he finally was able to, turn into Michael frickin' Jordan. He was already Jordan before, but there's a lot of Hall of Famers in the NBA Hall of Fame who don't have rings because of Michael Jordan. And he turned into that guy that prevented other Hall of Famers from having rings instead of being the guy who couldn't get the rings because other guys were beating him. He figured out a way to overcome all that. But he got beat up in the process. I think the Pistons even called it like Jordan rules or whatever, how they were going to defend him, which was basically we're going to bully him. We're going to make him pass the ball. We're going to take him out of his element. And he was a high-flying dunker, finesse type player. He wasn't necessarily the most physical player in the world when he entered the league. Kind of similar. I mean, the games are very similar. Not very similar between Caitlin Clark and Michael Jordan. She's obviously going to shoot the long shot, three-point shooter, great shooter, ridiculously good shooter, even though she's been in a slump lately. Her second season, she's had some injuries in the WNBA. The shooting percentage is not quite the same. And other teams are kind of beating her up. And the refs are allowing it. And if you think back to Jordan, I don't know that they allowed it to this degree. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. But they kind of allowed it to happen to Jordan. It was almost like the NBA had to learn, how do we defend a guy like this? Oh, we're going to beat him up. And then the refs had to learn, well, how do we handle this, so to speak? Because this is something the NBA had never seen. Well, it's kind of similar in that way, in that nature. Okay. Obviously, Caitlin's not going to be dunking from the free throw line, just like Jordan wasn't shooting 40-foot three-pointers, especially not early on in his career, but kind of beating her up and bullying her, or however you overly physical with her, however you want to parlay that there verbally. But it's kind of like the refs are letting it happen. Is this a thing on purpose, or is this a thing where they're learning how to call it, whatnot? And so I thought Colin Cowherd had some interesting thoughts on that. So we'll chat about that. And what will Dana Holgorsen's offense look like this fall? That's going to be the top of hour 2. What will it look like this fall? That's one of the most intriguing things coming into the season for most folks. Now, for someone like me, the most intriguing thing is who's going to step up on the D-line. How cohesive will we be in the secondary on the defense? How much better will the special teams be? And then I go to offense. For most folks, everything starts with the offense. They want to know, what's Dylan's year 2 improvement going to look like? How does the running back rotation work? All right, we know Emmett's a good back. We gotta get him his carries, his touches, his passes, but it's a long season. It's a physical season. Who else is going to be in that rotation? How does that work? All right, the offensive line. How improved are they or are they not? The wide receivers we're excited for. What really happens with them? How good are they? But when it comes to Dana Holgorsen's offense, what's it going to look like? He said it's going to be more pro style. We know he likes to throw the ball. We know he likes to move chess pieces around. What does he do with a Carter Nelson, a Heinrich Harburg, things like that? So those are going to be the things we chat about in hour 2. All right. Right off the top, Jake, Shaquille O'Neal's top 10 greatest players of all time. Number 1, Michael Jordan. Number 2, Kobe Bryant. Number 3, LeBron James. Number 4, Magic Johnson. So that's his Mount Rushmore. He didn't say Mount Rushmore, but those are the first 4 guys on his top 10 list. And number 5, Bill Russell. Where are you at on this? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are your thoughts here?
Well, I mean, I think Kobe's pretty high. And you would expect those first 2. Those are, well, I guess Kobe at least was his teammate, so I can see that. It's different to see different guys with lists there. Shaq, I would expect to be able to argue himself up there as well because he's in the discussion. So I was interested where he lands in his own top 10. But yeah, I mean that would be my only critique so far.
So who would be your top 4?
I would probably go. I think Michael Jordan, LeBron, Kareem usually is kind of thrown in there. 4 is where it kind of gets interesting. I always think Wilt gets undervalued in these discussions.
Is that just because Bill Russell had a lot of head-to-head success against him? I feel like that's always been the thing that people bring up when it comes to Wilt.
Well,
because his stats are redonkulous.
His stats were, yeah. And well, Bill had a better team. I'm a Celtics fan, so keep this in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Bill had a better team more often than not. So that, that kind of helped. And that's why Bill Russell kind of gets lowered in these discussions because of the talent around him. But I mean, their run was crazy.
I mean, he has 11 NBA championships.
Yeah.
If you think about that. So it's funny because he has 11 NBA championships. He's not always brought up in these conversations as high. His video game, the guy scored over 100 points in a game, and the rebounds, the points, the dominance. It was like you created a creative player in the video game, but this guy was Wilt Chamberlain just in real life. But, Russell had more championships, kind of beat him head to head. So I feel like those two things, obviously two of the all-time greats, nobody's disputing that, but they kind of get brought up when you're talking about each player there. Let me continue. I got to go back to Shaq's list because I actually found Paul Pierce's top 5 greatest players. And then a couple of other stats as well. Here's one thing that doesn't get talked about enough. Steve Kerr's 4-peat. Steve Kerr had a 4-peat. Did you even realize this, Jake?
I probably had forgotten it by now, but yeah, I think at one point I knew.
1996, won a title with the Bulls. 97 with the Bulls, 98 with the Bulls, 99 with the Spurs.
I remember with the Spurs, yeah. I guess I didn't realize that was coming off the Bulls run, but I guess it is.
Man, you got to give Steve Kerr more props, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so Shaq again. Jordan 1, Bryant 2, LeBron James 3, Magic Johnson 4, Bill Russell 5, Wilt Chamberlain 6. So he's got him 5 and 6 right there.
Yeah.
But he's got Bill ahead of Wilt. All right. Larry Bird 7, Hakeem Olajuwon, Hakeem the Dream, number 8. I would probably say Hakeem was my favorite player. Being a bigger kid, I related to the bigger guys on the NBA court and just the way he played. It was rare. It was smooth. It was athletic with a touch of physicality. And I felt like nobody could guard him one-on-one. One-on-one, I don't know if anybody could guard him. Number 9, Tim Duncan. Number 10, Julius Erving. So he leaves himself off. I got no problem with that. So let's go to Paul Pierce's top 5 greatest players of all time.
Let's start with Paul Pierce. I know he's pretty big on himself.
No, it does not start with Paul Pierce. All right. Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant. That's his top 5.
Yeah. All these names are up there in the discussion. I like it.
I have always, for me, it's been Jordan. I've always said Kareem was 2. When you factor in stats, like being the best player in the league, league MVP multiple times, championships, dominance. To me, it was always Kareem. Almost with the sky hook and the hook shot, almost indefensible, dominant in rebounds. And you can argue he was on great teams as well, obviously with Magic and Worthy and all those guys, But that kind of factors in to a degree with everybody. The next 3 guys that come up to me, so I have Jordan, I have Kareem. I've always kind of had those guys 1 and 2. And then after that, again, these are all legends. Kobe Bryant comes to mind. Magic Johnson comes to mind. LeBron James comes to mind. Those are the next 3 that come to mind for me. I think I've always put Magic 3rd in my mind. And I think the one thing that I always liked about him was he could legit do everything. From starting as a point guard, in my opinion, the greatest point guard of all time, started games at center. If you can start a point guard and center, you can start at any position in between. He could dish it, he could dribble, he could shoot, he could score. I don't know if he was the best defender in the world. I guess never really thought about that. 5 rings as well. I've always kind of thought Magic would be 3. Then you get into Kobe and LeBron. LeBron's a better all-around player. Kobe, LeBron has 4 rings. Kobe has 5. I think the thing that, in my mind, always stood out to me was it 1 or 2 championships Kobe won after Shaq? It was 2, right?
He won 2, yeah.
Because it was always him and Shaq. They didn't always get along the best, but they always had each other. Of course, Jordan had Pippen and Russell and Bird and all those guys. Everybody always has somebody. After Shaq left and he won 2. And he had good teammates with him. Robert Horry has 7 NBA championships. But to me, that was always the thing that took him to another level. He was the guy, and he had to carry the team. And he had good players around him. But he was the guy that had to carry the team after Shaq left, and they won 2 championships. People like to bring up, stacking the team in Miami for LeBron, whether it's Bosh and Wade. You go to L.A., people want to hold against the bubble championship or whatever that they won with the Lakers, him and Anthony Davis. With the Cavaliers, that's like the one big thing, not the one big thing, but that's like the thing that a lot of people will point to, coming back, beating the 73 win Golden State Warriors, coming back from a 3-1 deficit to win the last 3 games, to beat them, to win the finals championship, do it for Cleveland. LeBron was obviously the main cog in that. It was also Kyrie that hit the shot. Just like it was Ray Allen that hit the shot down in Miami. Do you remember those things there, Jake?
Oh, absolutely. The 2 biggest shots in LeBron's career.
I don't know if I'd put it that way. I do have this stat. And I actually think, if you're one of the top 5 greatest NBA players of all time, that's pretty rare air. I think the flopping doesn't help LeBron. When you flop and then you beg for calls, I think the appearance of that just doesn't come across great sometimes. But there is this stat, and it is a stat. LeBron James, since joining the Lakers, is 1 of 29 on game-tying or go-ahead field goal attempts in the final 5 seconds of the fourth quarter or overtime. 1 of 29. So stuff like that doesn't help, okay? Obviously, he's still one of the greats. So for me, I would go Jordan, Kareem, Magic, probably Kobe. And then you to me, the debate is more LeBron or Bird. And I think Bird gets forgotten about. And I think he gets overlooked sometimes. And if you go and you do just a little bit of recon on Bird and what other people have to say about him, it was ridiculous how good he was. And a lot of people now they remember bad back Larry Bird, who wasn't the same as prime Larry Bird. And I believe Larry won, 3 championships, I'm pretty sure. So he had quite a bit in his own right. I've always thought I would put maybe LeBron 5th, right behind Kobe, Bird 6th. And then you can get into the Wilt Chamberlain, the Bill Russells, Tim Duncan, all that good stuff. So you don't see Julius Erving's name brought up a ton as an all-around great player. He was, but I think what happens is sometimes people remember certain things, and a lot of people remember the dunks, and they forget how good of a player he was, but Shaq has him at 10. I think Duncan gets overlooked. When your nickname is the big fundamental, that's a great thing. But if people don't think of you sometimes in a certain way, maybe if they think of you as, I don't want to say boring, but sometimes a player who's fundamentally that sound, isn't overly expressive, doesn't talk a ton, can get overlooked as well. So I was happy to see that Shaq had Tim Duncan on here as well. All right. You got any other final thoughts here on this little debate there, Jake? Anything from the text line there?
Yeah, well, it's kind of fun because I was having this talk with some friends the other day, and it is like, where do you put Tim Duncan? In your top 10, he almost has to be for what he was able to do throughout a long period of time with the Spurs through different eras. So he always had good teammates. I mean, Greg Popovich, one of the best coaches of all time, and it was a well-run organization. But just to be that key piece for that long of a time and win, championships every couple of years was incredible. So he's almost got to be put in your top 10. But again, it's that fundamental thing. It's like, where do you put him? He's not going to be as flashy as some of these other names. And then the exciting part to me, too, is Steph Curry, I think, knocking on the door of the top 10. And his individual, he obviously his stats speak for himself as far as beyond the arc, the championships that he won in Golden State, to rise above and beat these super teams that LeBron was creating, is really a crazy story. Now, eventually, of course, they became their own super team. KD came in. So that kind of hurt his legacy, I think, a little bit because KD came in and was the best player on the team. And so Steph kind of gave that up. But again, you get into, there's very few, even all these guys. That's why I like Shaq so much, is because they changed rules for him. They said the defensive 3 seconds, Shaq is too dominant doing this. We got to change rules. And in a similar fashion, Steph Curry changed the game. I mean, the game is different now than when Curry entered the league because of the way that he was able, along with Klay Thompson, who's now dating Megan Thee Stallion. I guess that's important.
That matters. You got to factor that in.
Yeah, we've seen that. So I think Steph Curry is definitely knocking on the door of top 10 and again, it's dependent on how you rank these things as far as like changing the game, the impact of the game.
Yeah, you make an interesting point. So Tim Duncan won 5 NBA championships. Okay. Steph Curry has won 4. When you think about the game changing for Shaq, they not only changed rules, they changed defenses. They brought in the Hack-a-Shaq just for him.
Yeah.
Which is both good and bad, I think, on Shaq's part. And Steph Curry has 4 NBA championships. And I don't know that there'd be a lot of pushback on this, the greatest shooter in the history of the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want to factor in the KD effect, they won 2 championships with KD, but KD was the best player on both those teams. But there's also the unselfish effect. How many players would have said, yeah, we've won 2 without you, but come on in after we just beat you and eliminated you from the playoffs. And yeah, we're not going to have a fight over who gets the ball and who gets the most shots. Like, it was a very rare, unselfish thing too. So you could argue maybe that hurts his legacy. You could also argue maybe that adds to how you view him in general as well, in a positive sense. So, all right. Is there anything off the text line there?
Yeah, let's go through the text line. Claytonio John says, well, I can't read that one. Claytonio John was talking about.
Can you censor it and read it to us or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was talking about Wilt off the court was quite the winner. So.
Yeah, there's Wilt off the court. That's true.
Dave Braska is saying Bill Russell was the greatest team player of all time. And Ben is wondering where the white mamba, Brian Scalabrine, is. No respect. Brad says Allen Iverson is the GOAT.
Some interesting comments there. I mean, I did throw Robert Horry out there earlier. That guy has 7 NBA championships. We're talking about ultimate team players. And he had some clutch shots too, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Big shot Bob.
Yes. So that was a clutch player, a team player, a guy who always seemed to be on teams that were winning. So somehow that's got to credit him as well. Here's something else. All right. To the Russell and who he had around him versus MJ versus Kobe and all these other guys. Most times having a teammate average 22 plus points per game in the finals. So you had somebody else, not you, that averaged 22 or more games in a finals series. Russell had 14 teammates. That's quite a bit. The next most was Magic at 7. LeBron at 6. Kareem at 6. Shaq with 5 teammates that averaged 22 plus points per game throughout a final series in their career. Wilt had 4. Kobe had 4. Steph had 3. So when you think about who Steph had around him, it was only 3.
It's the same 3, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of an interesting stat because some of these guys lasted long.
It's a fair point.
Yeah.
Same 3.
I don't know. Yeah. Stats are always fun. And that's what's kind of fun about this discussion is you can kind of manipulate stats to certain arguments of what way you want to do it. Well,
How
I'm just saying,
dare you?
I don't know if having Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant stick around, that's a bad thing for Steph.
So it's most times.
Okay, most times.
Maybe I didn't say that clearly. Most times, not most teammates. So most times having a teammate averaged 22 plus points per game. So it happened 14 times for Russell, 7 times for Magic. Then you skip down to Steph. It was 3 times. Kobe 4 times. Duncan, this surprised me. 1 time.
It was such team basketball. I mean, they always had several guys there. Yeah.
That surprised me, though.
Yeah.
Hakeem Olajuwon, 0. I'm telling you, that dude is underrated. Now, I don't know if he's a top 5 player of all time. You can say he is. You can say he's top 10, whatever. We're splitting hairs here. He was my favorite to watch as a kid. And I still wonder what would have happened. I mean, you could argue if Jordan doesn't go play baseball for 2 years, maybe he doesn't come back with that same fire and win 3 in a row after his 2-year baseball break. Because they had the 3-peat. He played baseball for 2 years or a year and a half, and then he came back at the end of the second year for the playoffs. I think it was against the Pacers and then the Magic. I could be wrong about that.
Magic eliminated. And people, People almost give MJ that doesn't count. Whatever, he wasn't there. He was there. They lost the playoff series.
He was very rusty. He did not look like himself. But then when he came back the next season, another three-peat was about to happen.
3 more, yeah.
So I always wonder, had he not taken that 2-year break, does he win that same 3 at the end? Because maybe he doesn't come back with that same fire. Because there was a reason he went and played baseball. And part of it was due to his dad's death and the connection he had with his dad through baseball. Part of it was he might have just needed a break. And I will never forget when he came back, he simply just faxed the league and said, I'm back. Because they were talking about that on SportsCenter the instant it happened. Back when SportsCenter used to play highlights and was SportsCenter. All right, so Hakeem had 0. Oh, that's what I was getting at. The 2 years he was gone playing baseball, the Rockets won the NBA championship back-to-back. I always wondered what would have happened because I always felt like the best team out of the West, that 6-year span, the 8-year span, so the 3 years, they won the finals championship, the Bulls. The 2 years he was gone, and then the 3 years when he was back. They played the Suns with Barkley and Johnson and Marley. They played the Supersonics with Peyton and Kemp. They played the Jazz back-to-back years with Malone and Stockton and all those guys. And Portland with Clyde the Glide Drexler and some other great players as well. I always felt like the best teams in that 8-year span, all right, was the 2 years the Rockets won it. Best team out of the West, and we never got the Bulls versus Rockets. And it would have been Jordan versus Hakeem. And I'm pretty sure they came out in the same draft as well. You know how many times Jordan had a teammate average 22-plus points per game in the finals?
How many?
0.
There you go.
Same as Hakeem. All right, last stat, then we got to go to break. This is I love role players. I love role players. A lot of times when folks try to put a team together, they'll just try to find the best scorers, the best people, the best athletes. Try to get as many of them on a team. And there's logic to that. There's also a team dynamic that you have to take into account. That doesn't always work team dynamic-wise. You need role players. Dennis Rodman, in my opinion, and Horace Grant, whom he basically took over for when Horace didn't have great feelings when he went out the door and went to Orlando and left Chicago. Dennis Rodman was the ultimate role player. Great defensive mind, defensive player, obviously great rebounder, had no problem. If he didn't shoot a ball all game, he didn't care. He understood his role. The NBA's most 20-plus rebound games all time. So had 20 or more rebounds in a game. Dikembe Mutombo, 52. Charles Barkley, 54. DeAndre Jordan, 60. Dwight Howard, 82. Andre Drummond, 84. You want to guess how many Dennis Rodman had? 158.
Okay.
You all almost have to add up number 2 and 3 combined just to equal Mr. Rodman. All right, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this weekend is the Roca Hoedown, sponsored by the Roca Tavern. Friday and Saturday night, indoor and outdoor entertainment, food trucks, and friends, all in downtown Roca. $15 cover charge with the live music starting at 4:30 p.m. We'll see you there.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Make bill paying a breeze with Text to Pay. LES texts you 1 week before your bill's due date. Just reply to the text to pay. It's that easy. Log into your account at les.com to sign up today.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Take control of your health with the DASH scan at Advanced Medical Imaging. The DASH scan is a full-body MRI designed for advanced health screening. This dynamic approach provides exceptionally sharp images across multiple organ systems, helping to detect potential concerns early. With minimal radiation and no invasive procedures, the DASH scan offers a safe, comprehensive look at your health. Plus, results are delivered faster than ever, giving both patients and physicians confidence in screening and diagnosis. Your health is too important to wait. Schedule your DASH scan today at Advanced Medical Imaging. Visit amimaging.com or call 402-484-6677 to learn more.
Breathe easier inside your home with Bryant. Eliminate allergens and odors and control humidity too. For a breath of fresh air, call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
It's never too late to start protecting your company's data from cyber attacks. Your customers put their trust in you to keep their information safe from online threats. Don't let them down. Partner with Hamilton Business Technologies to get real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and experts who monitor it all for you. We care about the success of your business and the communities you serve. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
This is the Adam Carricker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carricker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. All right. Hour 1 of the Adam Carricker Show is sponsored by our good friends at Hamilton Telecommunications. They bring you the latest in quality technology and communication services since 1901. Learn more about their residential and business services at hamiltontel.com. That's Hamilton, TEL.com. All right, before we dive into a little bit of Caitlin Clark discussion, is she being treated similarly to the way Jordan was when he entered the league? Yay, nay. What do we make of this whole thing? Is there anything off the text line there?
Let's see here. Looking through the comments.
That's okay. While you're looking, go ahead. I'll give you a second here while you look. So Missouri's head coach at SEC Media Days, Eli Drinkwitz, brought jokes to the 2025 SEC Media Days. He started off his press conference by saying, and I quote, "I'm not going to answer any questions about the Epstein files, the radiation belt, or how Lee Harvey Oswald was able to get off 3 shots in 7 seconds." End quote. I don't think we'll be discussing any of those things either today, Jake, just to make it sure for our listening audience out there. But I immediately became a fan of Mr. Drinkwitz after I saw, I like a coach with a good sense of humor. I almost sent you the clip. Anytime Lane Kiffin and Paul Feinbaum are on the same show, it is must-see TV. So I watched, they were in Destin, Florida for, I forget what it was, SEC meetings or whatever it was a couple of months ago. And Lane went on. I think we played a clip from Lane went on Paul's show, and we played a clip. The awkward banter that is not staged, 100% purposeful, but 1,000% authentic is phenomenal. Lane actually delayed the flight back to Oxford because he wanted to go on Paul's show, and I watched that interview yesterday. There's not a whole lot of substance that comes from it. Basically, Lane saying, "Oh, you said I should have been fired at Tennessee, and you're saying this and that," but it's not like accusatory. It's almost like it's like a comedy skit because it's so awkward between the two of them. There's awkward pauses and delays. If you get a chance to check it out, go check it out. It's worth watching. And you can also tell they actually kind of like each other and they enjoy it. It's a funny thing to watch. It's good comedy, good humor. And anytime they get together, you just got to check it out. It's worth the watch. But it made me think of Mr. Drinkwitz here and what he had to say. But go ahead. Did you find anything off the text line, yay or nay?
Oh, no, I was just going to tell you that I was going to see if you're going to still like Eli Drinkwitz, because I don't know if you saw. He also pitched a 30-team college football playoff with play-in games. So he was doing the math in his head. He was trying to say, that's 8 for the SEC, 8 for the Big Ten. You give 3 to the Big 12, 3 to the ACC. What do you think about it? I mean, we've talked about it. Once they start expanding, they probably won't stop. Eli's trying to push that already.
Now, I take back every kind word I ever said about Eli Drinkwitz. I now cannot stand the man. I mean, it is just abhorrent what he has done and said recently. No, good Lord. When we went to 4 teams, you knew it wasn't done in the playoffs. I thought the natural order of things would be, okay, we'll go to 8. Then maybe we'll go to 12, but then I think people are going to be like, let's go to 16. No, we went from 4 straight to 12. We're going to have 2 years of that. Then we're going to go to 94, probably about 1,000 after that. I'm just like, let's just take the regular season and what made college football so unique, so special. Let's take it out back and let's just shoot it dead like Old Yeller, which, by the way, was my favorite movie growing up. And I still shed a tear to this day when I watch it with my kids. And they have to do that to that poor dog at the end of the movie.
Why is that your favorite movie?
Well, I love dogs when I was a kid. But now, why I like that one so much. So what I would do as a kid after I watched it the first time, I would watch it up until, I hope I'm not spoiling this for anyone. Old Yeller's been out for like 50 years. The wolf, which is an insane wolf, attacks them by the fire. Old Yeller protects the family from the wolf. He gets rabies from the wolf, and then they have to do what they have to do. So I would watch up until the wolf attacks, and the instant the boy would come to the house and yell and be like, there's a wolf, there's a wolf. And then the older boy goes out with the gun and Old Yeller's following with, I would shut the movie off right there. I wouldn't even watch Old Yeller fight the wolf. No, yeah. It's just, that's the end of the movie. Anyways, I digress. The Big Ten will not back off its preferred college football playoff format, guaranteeing the league 4 automatic qualifiers unless the SEC goes and adds a 9th conference game. So let's just dispense with the ridiculous 30-team playoff for at least a year or two before we have to bring that back up. But the Big Ten wants guaranteed 4 teams in. The SEC and Big Ten are not getting along right now when it comes to the college football playoff discussion, debate, and or talk. And the Big Ten will not back off this unless the SEC goes to 9 games. 9 conference games. Is the SEC going to go to 9 conference games, Jake?
Oh, they've been fighting that for years. I highly doubt it.
It's a guaranteed another W in the column for them, yet they don't want to be held accountable for the guaranteed extra W that every team in their conference gets, while the Big Ten, half the teams in the conference are getting another L because they're playing each other. So half the teams are going to win, half the teams are going to lose. So that's 9 more teams in the Big Ten with another L in the loss column. But then the SEC wants to talk about wins versus losses at the end of the year. And then they want to talk about strength of schedule, but completely ignore the fact that they really get 3 bye weeks every year. They're 2 actual bye weeks. And then whatever bakery they walk into and whatever cupcake they play the week before their rivalry games, which is essentially a 3rd bye week, they don't want to talk about that. They just want to put together this thing where all the preseason rankings have all the SEC teams in the top 25, and they want to go off of that because a lot of those rankings are connected to certain outlets, whether it be ESPN or otherwise, which have connections directly to the SEC. The whole thing is just, it's kind of crazy. And I see the Big Ten not as some white knight or a knight on a white horse or something like that, but they're really the only thing stopping the SEC from just taking over all of college football, which the SEC is trying to do anyways. And if we're being honest, the Big Ten and SEC will probably get together. They will get on the same page at some point, and then they'll both take over college football, which I get a little less mad about. I don't know, because we're in Big Ten, so we benefit from it. If we were outside the Big Ten, I'd be furious, just being open and honest about that. But all right, I do think the SEC will go to a 9th conference game at some point whenever they figure out what the college football playoff format's actually going to officially look like after this year. Because whatever the format is will not dock you for having an extra conference game, because it's probably going to be based on your conference record instead of overall record. And then the SEC is going to say, hey, let's get a bigger paycheck by playing bigger brand names within our own conference again, because then it's probably going to be those conference play-in games that we talked about before. 1 and 2 in the championship game, or are they getting buys, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5, and then the winners of those games gets in. Does that kind of make sense, Jake?
Yeah, it does. And we'll see. I mean, the SEC, again, has long fought this, and I don't think there's any arguing anymore. I mean, just because of the way the conferences, I mean, the super conferences that are there in the SEC and the Big Ten, when compared, I mean, you can make SEC and Big Ten comparison, but the SEC 8-game schedule is different than an 8-game Big 12 schedule, right? An ACC schedule. So, I mean, at some point, we can kind of acknowledge that there is something there. Now, are they miles ahead of the Big Ten? Are they even ahead of the Big Ten? That's where you can kind of get the argument. But it's interesting that they're having this argument while at the same time, this idea that nobody seems to be turning down. It hasn't crossed the line, but the SEC Big Ten Challenge, basically, where they would be open to having one of those competitions. You know, I just find it all fascinating because the conferences are getting so big, and they already were, right? When you had the Big 8, you played everybody, and you decide, everybody decides who, round robin, who's going to win. They tried to do that in the Big 12 a couple of years ago. When you have 18 teams in a league, you're never going to get even schedules. And so, again, we're talking about the diminishing of the conference and winning the conference in general. You almost kind of get lost in this, like, what are we even fighting for anymore? Because it's not going to be even. And so whether you play 8 or 9 conference schedule, game conference schedule, a lot of these SEC teams too, I always point out, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida. I mean, they play year in and year out, Clemson and Georgia Tech and Florida State. And so they have these other games. Alabama, LSU doesn't back down from playing a big time non-con game. So in a way, they still kind of, can fill out their schedule. And with these 8-game conference, here's the argument for the SEC. And like you said, certain metrics can kind of hurt it. Even though with their 8-game conference schedule, they have 12 of the top 12 toughest schedules in college football. So
according to ESPN's rankings,
right? So, but I mean, it is just an interesting debate. I know right here it's easy to just say Big Ten's right, let's run with it and move on that way. But the further the Big Ten is now 18 teams, and the SEC 16 teams, you can play 9, 8, 7, 10 conference games. You're not going to get even schedules.
Well, that's why when they went to, let's take the top 2 overall teams and eliminate divisions from conferences, and let's take the top 2 overall teams in the conference championship game, there's logic to that, because you're going to get the 2 best teams theoretically. Now, Ohio State, who won the national title, didn't even make the Big Ten championship game last year, but that's also because Penn State really played Ohio State in the Big Ten, and that was really it. I guess they played Illinois was their other tough game in the Big Ten, whereas Ohio State played Oregon, Penn State, Michigan, much tougher slate. So they had more losses, even though they beat Penn State in the regular season and probably were clearly the better team. So the disparity of strength of schedule isn't always going to give you the 2 best teams. That's why I still maintain divisions. Everybody in your division is going to play the same exact teams. Everybody in the other division is going to play the same exact teams. And I wouldn't even divide up divisions by geography anymore. Geography does not matter. Try to balance them out. And at some point, a coach is going to retire, get fired. The new coach comes in, and maybe he's better, maybe he's worse. So it's impossible to divide it perfectly based on what you're hoping, which would be each side and each division being equally balanced out when it comes to the powers in each division. But you do the best you can. And I've always thought that was the best way to do it, because at least your strength of schedule within your division, the teams that you are being directly compared to, is relative, if not exactly the same, because you're all playing the same teams. And that always made more sense to me. We were supposed to talk about Caitlin Clark, and we never got there.
Oh, yeah.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk about Caitlin Clark. Don't go anywhere.
In today's digital world, technology works great until it doesn't. At Hamilton, we work to keep your business up and running. We are more than an IT company. We're your partner, focused on customized solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Say goodbye to tech stress and unexpected IT costs when you hire Hamilton. Together, we help you focus on what really matters. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Breathe easier inside your home with Bryant. Eliminate allergens and odors and control humidity too. For a breath of fresh air, call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
We strive to help people get into home ownership. That is the American dream. Having something that you can go home at night and say, this is mine, is very important. The great thing about Remington Homes is affordability.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, talking about their exciting new division, Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier.
The exciting thing about a Remington home is you get to choose your floor plan from predetermined floor plans. We give you a lot of choices, and you couple that with our great lot selection in all different areas. People do not want to be married to their house payment. They want to get a nice house with nice finishes in a great area for an affordable price. And that's what Remington Homes are all about.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Don't miss the 8th Annual Wing Fest on Saturday, July 26th at Haymarket Park from 5 till 8 p.m. Local restaurants will be serving wings from 5 to 7 p.m. with live music going until 8. Ice cream and beverages will also be available for purchase, and all the proceeds from the event will go to benefit students in the local community. Get your tickets today at wingfestlincoln.com and make sure you attend the 8th Annual Wing Fest at Haymarket Park on July 26th.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Make bill paying a breeze with Text to Pay. LES texts you 1 week before your bill's due date. Just reply to the text to pay. It's that easy. Log into your account at les.com to sign up today.
Tune in every Saturday from 12 to 2 p.m. for the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. Sit back and enjoy listening to Dr. Chatters discuss real stories involving struggle, inspiration, and real-life experiences with special guests and insights. Remember, the higher the pressure, the greater the lift. It's the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters every Saturday from 12 to 2 p.m. right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Take control of your health with the DASH scan at Advanced Medical Imaging. The DASH scan is a full-body MRI designed for advanced health screening. This dynamic approach provides exceptionally sharp images across multiple organ systems, helping to detect potential concerns early. With minimal radiation and no invasive procedures, the DASH scan offers a safe, comprehensive look at your health. Plus, results are delivered faster than ever, giving both patients and physicians confidence in screening and diagnosis. Your health is too important to wait. Schedule your DASH scan today at Advanced Medical Imaging. Visit amimaging.com or call 402-484-6677 to learn more.
This is the Adam Carricker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carricker Show. Hour one of the Adam Carricker Show is sponsored by our good friends at Hamilton Telecommunications, bringing you the latest quality technology and communication services since 1901. Learn more about their residential and business services at hamiltontel.com. That's hamiltontel.com. We have this problem a lot. We have too much to talk about, Jake. Like if anybody says we're searching for content, untrue. You're trying to come up with stuff to talk about because you need clicks. False. Listen to the show. We are always overloaded. In fact, we are going to move Caitlin Clark, Michael Jordan, the 1985 freeze out of Jordan in the All-Star game, and how that led to Isaiah Thomas not being on the 1992 Dream Team. All that to the back half of hour 2. DP taught me something yesterday. I knew Lou Groza. The Lou Groza Award was named after one of the greatest kickers in the history of college football. I had no idea he was such a good offensive lineman. So DP sent me this morning. We all learn something every day. So go ahead and roll that clip, and then we can talk about just how underrated and ridiculously athletic linemen really are once the clip is over.
Louis Roy Groza, also known as the Toe, was a renowned American professional football offensive tackle and place kicker who spent his entire career with the Cleveland Browns in the All-America Football Conference and National Football League. His impressive kicking skills and accuracy led to a significant evolution in place kicking as a specialty. Groza played a vital role in the Browns' success, helping them win 8 league championships during his 21-season career. His ability to kick field goals from distances beyond 50 yards influenced the game, setting numerous records during his impressive career. Born in eastern Ohio in Martins Ferry to immigrant parents, Groza received a scholarship to Ohio State University but enlisted in the U.S. Army during World War II. Following his military service, Groza signed with the Cleveland Browns in 1946, becoming an integral part of their offense. Throughout his career, Groza's exceptional kicking in critical games led the team to multiple victories, securing key championships for the Browns. Later in life, after retiring from professional football, Groza ran a successful insurance business and became an ambassador for the Cleveland Browns. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1974 and honored with the Lou Groza Award in 1992. His impact on football was significant in shaping the trajectory of place kicking as a crucial element in the sport, amassing records and accolades that solidified his legacy as one of the all-time greats in professional football. Groza passed away in 2000, but continues to be celebrated as a football legend, and his contributions to the sport are recognized and revered to this day.
Yeah, so the Lou Groza Award, if you don't know, is presented annually to the top collegiate football place kicker in the United States. All right, the first annual Lou Groza Award was handed out in 1992. No Nebraska Cornhusker has ever won the Lou Groza Award. Do you know which school has won the most amount of them? And there is a certain amount of irony to the school that's won the most amount.
Florida State?
Florida State has won 4. What is it? Wide left, wide right, wide left. I mean, my goodness. I remember Graham Gano, who I played with at the Skins, who was a Lou Groza Award winner. He was the 3rd one to win it from Florida State. I was like, weren't you nervous when you went to Florida State? Like the whole wide left, wide right thing? He's like, that's why I went there. He goes, I wanted to be the guy that put it through the uprights in that situation, which I always thought was kind of interesting. But yeah, he was an offensive tackle, an offensive lineman. Linemen get kind of brushed aside when it comes to athleticism sometimes. I will say this. I feel like you hear more about these types of things. I don't want to say from yesteryear, but from yesteryear, I don't know that athletes back then were more well-rounded. I just think we're more specified today. So maybe we're better at specific things. And they were a little bit more well-rounded back then because they didn't specify as much. Like, could you imagine an offensive tackle today kicking 55-plus yard field goals? That'd be crazy. We talked yesterday about the Pro Bowl. Hey, what if we made linemen kick them? And then we brought up Ndamukong Suh, who played soccer his entire childhood. And you told me they brought him in. I remember the extra point. I thought he made it. You said he missed it.
Yeah.
If he ain't making it, a guy who played soccer his entire childhood, what lineman's making it nowadays? It ain't me. I know that. I don't know if I've ever shared this story. Going into my senior year of high school, we didn't have a kicker. Okay, our kicker graduated. So my high school coach, Coach Hull, comes up to me. He goes, hey, Adam, I want you to try kicking. I never kicked a thing in my life. So I spent the entire summer practicing kicking on my own at the high school football field. At the end of the summer, I was like, all right, I'm just going to try 10 extra points. 10 extra points, Jake. Not far. This isn't a 50-yard field goal, 40, 30, or even 22 yards, right? I mean, we're talking extra points. I made 3 out of 10. I went to Coach Hull. I said, I'm not your guy. I'm not your guy. Just so happened, a freshman came in that year. Nobody knew who he was. And he became our field goal kicker, and I mean, if he kicked 10 field goals, he'd make 9, like easily, as a freshman. So he was clearly the better kicker. But I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. You learn. I remember Ray Guy. Do you know who drafted him? What round he was drafted? Do you know where he came from?
I don't know where he came from. Huh.
First round draft pick. The first punter, I believe the only punter ever drafted in the first round by the Oakland Raiders. He was such a dynamic weapon that the Raiders draft because he could flip an entire field with one kick. A vital part of the defense, if you will. And then he was so athletic during individual drills, because punters and kickers, they aren't active in every session of every practice, shall we say. He would go do individual drills with the defensive backs. He was so athletic. So now the top punter in college football every year receives the Ray Guy Award. So just learning things like that, I think that's interesting and that's cool. And I love to constantly learn new stuff like that. You got any final thoughts? I do have one thing that was texted into me. I thought it was interesting, but you got any final thoughts there, Jake?
I'm always fascinated by the history of it, too, and just to kind of think of the evolution of the game. Remember, they had the platoon system up until 1941, which was meaning you would play offense and defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and you'd have limited amount of substitutions. So your quarterback wouldn't go on the field and go look at the board. You had to find somewhere on defense to put him. So that was kind of always interesting. And so I was interested in that to see like how long. And Groza played for the Browns. He started in 46. So a couple years after that. And it was like he was 240 pounds or whatever, wore number 72. It looked kind of odd back there. But I always wondered too, because they're like, hey, this guy can really kick. Maybe we should start identifying kicking as an important piece to football. And it always blows my mind how some people will just kind of still throw it to the side and say, yeah, whatever, you need a kicker out there. It's like, so often your games come down to kicking. I mean, the distance that your kicker can get to. I mean, trying to get closer to the red zone. If you have to get to the 40 instead of the 35, it's a whole different ball game. So I'm always blown away. And I wonder what they're kind of thinking before they saw, hey, this guy can actually kick. It's like, well, just whoever kicks the best, I guess, is going to be our guy.
Well, Groza had a 21-year NFL career, too. I remember Jackie Slater for the Rams had a 22-year NFL career. I thought that was insane. Former offensive lineman for the Rams. That's crazy long time to play. I've always thought in overtime, the team with the better field goal kicker could have a huge advantage. Let's say neither team gets a first down, and one team has an average field goal kicker and the other one has a bad one. The team with an average field goal kicker or the team with a good field goal kicker, you can get 3 points without gaining a yard. The other team might have to score a touchdown, which is a huge difference, especially if you're the team going first and you don't know what the other team's already done. This was texted into me per our previous college football playoff 9-game regular season SEC schedule thing that they keep avoiding down south. This was texted into me by Andy Jurassic. He goes, what if they made it so that teams need to play 9 Power 4 games in order to be eligible for the playoffs? So either you have to have 9 conference games or 8 conference games and 1 Power 4 conference, a non-conference opponent. I like that idea.
Well, I mean, that's fine.
You don't love it, I can tell.
Well, it just goes back to my point. Then I think most of the SEC teams would make it still because they usually play a big Power 4 opponent outside of the conference.
A lot of them, like South Carolina, their big rivals, Clemson. Georgia's Georgia Tech. So it's like a built-in, like Florida State. It's a built-in system for some of them. And he liked my geography doesn't matter quote. He goes, you got geographers punching the air all over the place now, Adam. I don't know how many geographers there are, but feel free to punch the air, my friends. All right, don't go anywhere. Hour 2 of the Adam Carricker Show when we come back.
It's never too late to start protecting your company's data from cyber attacks. Your customers put their trust in you to keep their information safe from online threats. Don't let them down. Partner with Hamilton Business Technologies to get real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and experts who monitor it all for you. We care about the success of your business and the communities you serve. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Tune in to live coverage of Big Ten Media Days from the Mandalay Bay Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, July 22nd through 24th on 93.7 The Ticket. Join Derek Pearson, Jay Foreman, Nick Sainert, and Austin Orman as they bring you exclusive conversations with Big Ten coaches, players, and sports media professionals while getting you ready for the upcoming college football season. Big Ten Media Days coverage is presented by Advanced Medical Imaging, Stevenson Smith Construction, Currency, Warhorse Casino, Gary Michaels Clothiers, and League One Volleyball.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Make bill paying a breeze with Text to Pay. LES texts you 1 week before your bill's due date. Just reply to the text to pay. It's that easy. Log into your account at les.com to sign up today.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Don't miss the 8th Annual Wing Fest on Saturday, July 26th at Haymarket Park from 5 till 8 p.m. Local restaurants will be serving wings from 5 to 7 p.m. with live music going until 8. Ice cream and beverages will also be available for purchase, and all the proceeds from the event will go to benefit students in the local community. Get your tickets today at wingfestlincoln.com and make sure you attend the 8th Annual Wing Fest at Haymarket Park on July 26th. Summertime is here, and you know what that means. Grilling season. You know what's more embarrassing than an overcooked piece of meat? Your dirty, disgusting, and grimy grill. Let the pros at Husker Grill Cleaning get you ready for grilling season. They'll take your grill apart piece by piece, scrub every inch, and reassemble it so it can look and perform its best. Visit their website, huskergrillcleaning.com today to schedule your appointment. Husker Grill Cleaning, serving Lincoln, Omaha, Malcolm, and more.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Hopefully you and I agree that you should do everything you can to save your marriage. Divorce is hard, expensive, and its outcome is usually not all you hope for. However, when doing everything has failed, when divorce remains as your last option, consider Cordell & Cordell as your first choice to help you through the divorce process to a better place on the other side. We've been a partner men can count on for more than 30 years. Let us be that partner for you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 402-858-3220. That's 402-858-3220. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in downtown Lincoln. 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508.
At Network Partners in Lincoln, we know a lot of people want to support our troops, but just don't know how. SendACarePackageToday.com connects you with trusted organizations that pack and deliver military care packages. It's super simple. Just point and click. Show your support today. SendACarePackageToday.com is brought to you in part by Network Partners in Lincoln, helping to give our troops the comforts of home they deserve.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
This is the Adam Carricker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carricker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carricker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carricker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carricker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to hour 2 of the Adam Carricker Show here on 93.7 at The Ticket. Once again, it is the noon hour, and that means it's lunchtime. The lunch hour of Adam Carricker. The Adam Carricker Show here on The Ticket is sponsored by our friends at Mulberry Barbecue, now with 2 numero dos locations at 11th and Cornhusker and at 61st and Apples Way, right off Highway 2 by Lowe's. Both locations are open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Try their burn-end sandwich, a brisket burrito, barbecue nachos, a full slab of ribs, half-smoked chicken, and much, much more. Plus incredible size. Get fueled for lunch today or make dinner plans at Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker and at 61st and Apples Way, just off of Highway 2 by Lowe's. Again, one more time. We will have one monthly remote at Mulberry's Barbecue's South location, and our first one will be Friday, July 25th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Jake and I are looking forward to that very much. Also, hour 2 of the Adam Carricker Show is sponsored by our good friends at Suizo Construction, where safety isn't just a policy. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a promise. Suizo is hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back on and off the job site. Apply today at Suizo.com. 40 years strong in business. Suizo Construction. All right, we will we will come back to Caitlin Clark, Michael Jordan, the 1985 freeze-out of the All-Star game, how it applies. Is there a crossover? Do we see things similarly, differently, based on how Clark is being defended from a physicality standpoint? Obviously, the offensive games from Clark and Jordan are just a wee bit different, especially early on in Jordan's career. And how all this kind of wraps together, comes together, and our take on that. In the meantime, Jake, what do you think Dana Holgorsen's offense, Nebraska's offense, Huskers offense, directed by Dylan Raiola, Emmett Johnson, what do you think it's going to look like this fall? What do you expect? And how certain are you of this, or is there just a whole bunch of question marks when it comes to this topic in your mind?
I think there's a bunch of question marks. I mean, they've given kind of straightforward answers that it's going to look similar to what it did last year. They're not going to like overhaul the system. It's not going to be the air raid that we've seen under Dana Holgorsen in the past. So, you know, I think it will look, and so I kind of take that forward for the word with it, but it could look significantly different, different. And I wouldn't be completely shocked if they start to throw the ball around a little bit more. But as we talked about, they averaged like 32 passes per game last year. I don't know how much more you're going to get than that. And then, obviously with today's game, you like runs and stuff like that. There's extensions of the run game, right? Part of that was, I think, every one of Ja'Cory Barney's rushing touchdowns, I think he got
Sweet.
rushing touchdowns. Yeah, so sweet. So there's just different things that you can do. And so I think it's going to look somewhat similar to last year. Hopefully the elevated talent and more years kind of in that system, and then the mind of Dana Holgorsen can get a significantly more production out of it.
Hopefully the offensive line play is improved and upgraded. You always want to get better. The wide receivers. Garrett McGuire is a young coach with a bright future, but we did not get a lot out of our wide receivers last year. We couldn't get off a press. We didn't block well. So I don't know how else to put it. They weren't coached well a year ago. Okay, it's not an indictment on him. He's a young guy with an insanely bright future, but hopefully an upgraded coaching at the wide receiver, starting with D Shorts, the new handpicked via Dana Holgorsen wide receivers coach. You expect Dylan to be better because he's got that year's worth of experience, all right? Improvement, off-season improvements, whether it be in the weight room, whether it be mentally, whatever the case may be, not having to change offensive coordinators, 2/3 of the way through the season as well. I have this crazy thing we're going to do this year. We're going to start our best running back to start the season. I mean, it's this insane concept, Jake. Just think about that, okay? Now, just a few more things about Dana Holgorsen himself, then we'll dive into what we do kind of expect. Now, Jake's right. There's a lot of question marks. Dana Holgorsen is pretty forthright in his press conferences. We got a good glimpse of what things might look like this year, the last month of last year's season. And he's flat out said it's not going to be a whole lot different. It's not going to be his air raid of old. It's going to be a little bit more pro style than it used to be, which honestly kind of fits the Big Ten a little bit. I still remember, though, Joe Tiller, Drew Brees. Of course, Drew Brees is one-of-a-kind coach. Kind of so is Joe Tiller. Slicing and dicing the Big Ten and winning the Big Ten at Purdue in the year 2000, so it can be done. Like, it's kind of one of those things where if you're at a place like Purdue or Texas Tech or Starkville, Mississippi, or Pullman, Washington, where Mike Leach always coached, you do a little bit off-the-wall things, and you can have success with it. Sometimes you have to do those things. Sometimes you choose to do those things. But, again, just a reminder, Holgorsen has coached more than 20 All-Americans, 50 NFL draft picks, including 5 top 10 picks. All right. He's coached players that have won major national awards, such as the Biletnikoff, Paul Hornig Award, Johnny Unitas Golden Arm, and Jet Awards as well. Multiple Biletnikoff winners. All right, Michael Crabtree at Texas Tech actually won it twice under Holgorsen as well. Now, in his 19 seasons as an offensive coordinator or head coach, he's had nine quarterbacks. I tried to emphasize it, and then it came out weird. 9 quarterbacks have had 3,000-yard passing seasons, with a total of 15 individual seasons with 3,000 or more passing yards. He's also coached 6 quarterbacks who have had a 4,000-yard passing season, and 2 have had 5,000-yard passing seasons. There have also been 18 individual 1,000-yard receiving seasons and 6 individual 1,000-yard rushing seasons in Holgorsen's 19 seasons as an offensive coordinator or head coach. All right, Holgorsen coached the all-time FBS leader in touchdown passes and total offense, along with FBS season record holder in completions. He was the offensive coordinator for 2 of the top 4 passing offenses in FBS history. All right, let's see what else we got here. As Houston's head coach, all right, Holgorsen was Houston's head coach for 5 seasons, 2019 to 2023. He posted a 31-28 record with the Cougars, ranking 5th in school history in wins. Okay, and obviously their offenses were very good. You go to West Virginia, he had a 61-41 record in 8 seasons at West Virginia. His 61 victories in Morgantown ranked 2nd in program history, trailing only Hall of Fame coach Don Nehlen. Now, we've talked about a lot of that before. It may not look the exact same because he's not quite going to run the air raid. I will say this, he runs the ball more than people realize, and his average yards per rush, his offenses anyways, is actually much, much higher than people realize. When they run the ball, they tend to be very, very effective in his offenses. What I anticipate is a little bit more of a pro-style offense, not incredibly different than what we saw last year. I am curious to see what he does with Heinrich Haarberg, a guy who can be moved all over the place, one of the best athletes on the entire team. One of the fastest players, yet still at 240. If you go by the fastest man competition from the Husker games, it is Ja'Cory Barney, who actually won the fastest man competition that day. Willis McGahee, the linebacker, by the way, was right up there too. I believe he was 2nd. I think Heinrich Haarberg was 3rd. If I remember correctly, I was standing right there watching. I did not take notes, but that is what my memory tells me, as I was about 10 yards away watching. So what does he do with Haarberg? I advocated several times last year for Haarberg to be used as a wild card quarterback. Wildcat quarterback, and I still think that's a good idea. I'm not going to advocate it for it as strongly this year because we should have more faith in Dylan. We can put more on Dylan's plate this year and trust him with more. If you can't, why not? But I think we will be able to. But I still think it's just have a simple 5-6 play package, because for Haarberg, where he can run, he can throw, maybe there's a trick play or two. Because I'm telling you right now, if there's a 5 or 6 play package for Haarberg, it doesn't have to be insanely complicated for the offense. I'm telling you right now, the defense will spend way too much time on it, and defensive coordinators will freak out about it. Because I've been in those meeting rooms multiple times where that happens with defensive coordinators. Something like that freaks out D coordinators because they know they're not going to see it a ton, but what they know is the potential for a big play, and that's what causes defensive coordinators to lose sleep. So it doesn't have to take a ton of time away from your offensive preparation as a whole, but it will dig into the defense's preparation and the time that they have to take away from practice to practice on that small package of plays. So I do like that idea. Carter Nelson, okay, just insanely athletic. I'll never forget, they put him at running back on that goal line play. I believe it was against Purdue, tried to have him jump over the top. That tells you what they think of his athleticism. What did they do with him? Luke Lindenmeyer is projected to be the starter at tight end. He's still a solid tight end. In general, can you not just be a huge fan of that guy in general? Workhorse type guy. I'm anticipating a little bit because you talked about 32 32 passes a game last year when Holgorsen was the OC. I wouldn't expect there to be more than that. I wouldn't be shocked if it's about that. Because while we think highly of Emmett, and the coaches love Quentin Ives, we got to see Quentin do it in a game. We got to see Emmett do it and stay healthy for an entire season. And then there's who's the third back. They tried to get somebody out of the portal, so it tells you they feel there's some sort of a need there, or they wouldn't go after a running back in the portal right after the spring was over. He didn't choose us. Chose the wrong team because it wasn't our team, so he chose the wrong team. But do they throw the ball a little bit more because of all the weapons they have at wide receiver? Because you've got Dylan Raiola, and maybe you're trying to protect Emmett just a smidge. You can't protect him too much because it's still football. And Emmett's a physical back, and he wants to hit people. But I still think we throw around 30 passes. I think it's a little bit more pro style, not as air raid. I do think you have to take advantage of the weapons you have at wide receiver and the athletes you have and the chess pieces you have. I actually see Emmett as a chess piece because he can catch the ball really well too. He's just going to be the main running back. What do they do with Harburg? What do they do with Nelson? So that's kind of what I see. Around 30 passes a game. They want to average at least around 150 rush yards a game. As rough as Wisconsin's season was last year, you know they averaged 153 rush yards a game, which is 23 more rush yards per game than Nebraska. As rough as their season was. We discussed this the other day. We have to average, in my opinion, at least 150 rush yards a game. But just due to the weapons, due to at wide receiver and pass catchers that we have, and Dylan, hopefully an upgraded offensive line when it comes to consistency throughout the whole season, beginning to end. And they may want to protect the amount of times Emmett touches the ball throughout the year. We might see around 30 passes a game, but hopefully still 150 rush yards per game per average. And I think they've got to trust Dylan more. I mean, he was a true freshman last year. So you don't want to put too much on his plate. You've got to be able to trust him this year. It's going to be more of an up-tempo. Not up-tempo, but it's going to be a little faster paced. It was really slow paced last year. So it's got to be picked up just a little bit. They've specifically talked in the offseason how they want to be much better in the 2-minute offense. The offense moved so slowly last year, they couldn't be good at the 2-minute offense. So I'm not saying the entire game is a 2-minute up-tempo offense approach, but it's going to be a little quicker paced, which would bring us up to a normal pace. If they want to go beyond that, hey, cool, whatever. But they also want to be better in the 2-minute offense. So those are what I believe we know. What we don't know, how effective will we be running the ball? How far down the field will we be able to throw the ball consistently? We couldn't spread defenses down the field and make them defend the field vertically a season ago. Can we threaten them vertically, which will open up underneath passes? Maybe the screen passes will work a little bit more this year, Open up the run game, which then sets up the play action pass game. Those are the questions we don't know. So that's what I expect. That's what I don't know. What did I miss, Jake? And what do we got on the text line, if anything?
Yeah, we got some questions I want to get to, but I also wanted to point this out. I think that this idea that you're just going to stick to one offense, especially with Dana Holgorsen, and he said as much, is I think it could look different. Your plan versus Cincinnati compared to your plan versus Iowa, and it's not because they're different defenses. Of course, that always factors in. But who's stepping up? Who kind of throughout the year earns more touches? And that's kind of what we saw with Emmett Johnson last year. What do I expect this offense to do? I expect him to give the ball to Emmett Johnson at least 20 times a game, and it might, or around 19, 23, whatever it might be, because that's what happened in the final 4 games when Holgorsen came in, where his previous high, Emmett Johnson didn't have as high as a usage rate. So he's going to find the players that he identifies that are the playmakers on the team, and so I appreciate that. So that kind of goes to one of these questions. Bada Bing asked, was Holgorsen known for using tight ends? I'll tell you what, at certain times. And that's kind of to the point. If Heinrich Harburg or Lindenmeyer become a threat, they're going to get the ball a little bit more. They're going to plan it out for that. So that's what I'm kind of interested in seeing is Emmett Johnson looks like the where you kind of build the offense around. Does somebody kind of surpass him in that? Does Ja'Cory Barney become enough of a threat? Is Isaiah Hunter, Dane Key? So I think it'll depend on who's stepping up and who's playing well.
Was that texter's name Bada Bing?
Bada Bing.
I love that. What a great name. I think you make a phenomenal point, because I think one of the things that Holgorsen does really, really well. He came in right away. By the way, he still didn't ask the offense to learn his terminology. So he came in and learned their terminology during the season because it's easier for one guy to learn terminology, which is basically a new language. That's what a playbook really is. Then it has all the players. And he just kept it that way the entire offseason. Just random side note there. So he went and learned their entire terminology, but is using it towards his playbook. But one thing I didn't feel like we did last year, we came out, we had success early. Teams said, hey, this is what they're doing. Let's counterpunch with this. And I felt like we never had a counterpunch to their counterpunch. It was like as if Floyd Mayweather came out swinging, which he never really does. He's a defensive boxer, but roll with me on this. And then they hit him, but he never figured out. He always said there's no Da Vinci Code I can't solve in that ring. It was like we got stuck. Then Holgorsen came in, and you could see him within what they were doing already, because you don't want to change too much over the course of 1 or 2 weeks heading into USC when he became the offensive coordinator. You could see adjustments. I expect him to identify playmakers, and if I need to adjust and use that guy more, great. If this guy isn't quite playing the way we'd hoped, okay, we'll adjust. If they're bringing this to us, hey, we'll adjust to that. You make a great point. The guys getting the ball halfway into the season could be different than the guys who got the ball at the start of the season, the majority of the time, and the plays and the playbook. It could look differently as the season evolves. That's the sign of good coaching, in-game coaching, throughout the season coaching, adjustments. So I think that's a phenomenal point. As far as the tight ends, I'll be honest with you. No, I don't think he's specifically known for using tight ends. But if you look at the teams he's had, it was air raid. When you think of air raid, it's like 50,000 wide receivers on the field. Now, I do think we're going to have 3 on the field a lot this year because we got Key, Hunter, and Barney. And then, what does Lindenmeyer do? Obviously, he's a starting tight end, projected-wise. What do we do with Nelson? What do we do with Harburg? How do we incorporate those guys? So I think it's going to look interesting at times, and I mean that in a good way. So as far as tight ends as a whole, I don't know that he's ever had a bunch of really good tight ends, or chess pieces, as I like to call some of these guys. So I'm curious to see what he does with them.
Yeah, another question on here we got from Old Dad 34. How many yards passing a game would you think is good? For what it's worth, Nebraska last year, 228.4 yards passing per game, was 65th in the nation.
I respect the question. I'm more concerned on the yards rushing because the yards rushing will open up the yards passing. If we have to throw for I don't know, I'll just pick a number, 275 rushing yards a game, we're probably not rushing for 150, which means we're going to be a little bit predictable, and maybe the rushing game isn't as effective. I would rather average 150, 175 yards rushing a game, and maybe we stay at that number we were a year ago. And if we're 60 whatever in the country, I'm okay with that because instead of being around 80th in the country rushing yards per game wise, now we're in the top 40. And to me, bringing that balance, being physical, playing Big Ten style of football is going to take pressure off of Dylan and allow him to play a little bit more freely. And hopefully we take care of the ball a little bit better, obviously more efficient, score more points.
It's interesting, too, just to kind of think about it overall. Nebraska, 359 yards total offense. That was 94th in the country. Usually when you bring Dana Holgorsen in and he's got, offenses that have been first or top 10 and throughout his career, and then a little bit less toward the later part of his career when he kind of, like you said, has kind of left the air raid. And so that's kind of the question is, what do you expect from the total offense? Should their expectations be of old school Dana Holgorsen top 10 offense? Or are you more okay with, going from a 94th total offense, getting a big jump to like you said, 35th or 40th or something? Would that be good enough?
I'm looking up something real quick.
Okay.
Give your thoughts on that. Okay. I want to look up something real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I think that is, especially if you can keep the defense where it is. Obviously, you were in all these games last year. The schedule probably sets up for you to be in these games as well. I think that it's good enough just to take, we talk about it with special teams. Instead of being a great unit, if you're just an average unit, you can win a more couple games. I think you could probably say the same thing for this offense, which I don't think is talked about enough. I think it's because Holgorsen came in and there's excitement around Raiola, but they averaged 23.5 points per game. That was 103rd in the nation. Not a whole lot better than the offense of the previous year, which, as we all know, outside of a running quarterback here and there, was pretty much a disaster. So that's significant. They need a significant upgrade in the points per game category. The other stuff can kind of factor in where it is, and part of that's going to be field goal kicking, red zone offense, things again that have hurt this team in the last couple of years. One other thing that I'll throw your way when you're ready is the elimination of the fullback, because that is one thing that I think could hurt Nebraska here. Is because I think sometimes you get too close into this is a plan A. This is what we're going to do well. We're going to be the best at this. And maybe that is the right direction to go is to get all, do what you do as good as you can. But there's going to be certain matchups. You think about like a Penn State or an Ohio State where maybe they just have better athletes than you to do what you do well. And so you need a plan B, which is maybe hard-nosed football, stack it up, try to get that going if you can work on that enough to be a strength of your team. And again, it doesn't have to be Penn State or Ohio State. Maybe, Illinois got your number for a week or what. I mean, Nebraska scored 14 against Rutgers last year. So I am interested in that. It's not uncommon. I mean, it's popular across the country for fullbacks no longer to be on the roster, but I always felt like that was a good kind of plan B if you need it.
As far as the no fullback, yeah. When we talk about things that Matt Rule's doing differently than when he first got here, there's a decent amount of things on that list. One thing that's not brought up that much is the fullback is gone. And that was something, I remember the spring game, giving the ball to the fullback, the first play of the game. Of course, we were honoring Solich that day, former Nebraska fullback as well. And now there's not one on the roster. It's another thing that's evolved and changed. I don't think it's better or worse. Hopefully it's better. I don't think it's worse. What I would say, Wildcat, Heinrich Harburg. I'm just saying, I do think situationally that's a great thing that we have in our back pocket that not a lot of teams have. So I love the idea, short yardage, goal line, out in the middle of the freaking field where you can do some of the play action and the deep passes and trick plays with Harburg. Otherwise, you can do the read option. You can do the read option, wide receiver motion, hit him in the flat, play action pass. You can do all these different things. Also, Quentin Ives is known for being a bigger, more physical back. Not that Emmett's not, but if you want to just peer like Dowdell last year, that was kind of his specialty, short yardage and goal line. So we do have that. That's not an uber concern for me. It just kind of is what it is. You talk about the offense is evolving and changing as the season goes along. Now, Bill Belichick is a one of a kind. Okay, we know that. I remember preparing for the Patriots to play them. You'd watch tape on them. There was a game where they had 4 or 5 wide receivers out there and they threw the ball 50 times that game. The very next game, it was 2 and 3 tight ends. They ran the ball 50 plus times. They would evolve. Of course, you got Belichick and Brady. We're talking about a whole nother beast here, but they would evolve not throughout the season. Their game plan from week to week to week was drastically different. And then next week, they'd come out and be 50-50, 50% run, 50% pass. You never knew what they were going to do. So I'm not looking for that kind of drastic difference from week to week. These are still college kids. That would be a lot for them. Okay, but I do think there will be an evolution throughout the season with Holgorsen. Here's what I wanted to look up, because you talked about the improvement under Holgorsen as Nebraska's offensive coordinator this year. The guy that I think is going to see the biggest improvement is Dylan Raiola. Again, his completion percentage was over 70% the first 6 games. The next 3 games, it dipped mid to high 60s, but it dipped about 6 or 7%. Now, he finished 67% overall in the year. I actually think it dipped into the low 60s now that I think about it. But when Holgorsen was the OC, it dipped to 72%. So his completion percentage and his play is going to be improved. But before we go to break here, all right, under Holgorsen's direction, Nebraska improved on offense over the final 4 games of the 2024 season, highlighted by a 44-25 victory over Wisconsin. In that game, Nebraska posted its highest point total since 2021, while its offense, 473, and while its total offense, 473 total yards, rushing offense, 180 yards, and passing offense, 293 yard outputs were all the second best of the 2024 season, and that was only his second game as the offensive coordinator. Now, are we going to see mind-blowing stats every game throughout this entire season? I'd love to see it the first 3 games, and then let's see what we can go from there. But I do think there's going to be an improvement. I don't know that it's going to look like West Virginia or Houston, because the job here and the players here and what he's being asked to do isn't exactly the same. Like when Mike Leach went to Texas Tech and Mississippi State and Pullman, he had to do certain things to generate certain things because he couldn't just do it with what he already had. Holgorsen's going to walk in here with a few more things at his disposal, so he may not need to do the exact same things, which is why it might be just a little bit more pro-style-esque than we're used to from him, but that's going to be better for Nebraska in the Big Ten. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, I agree.
All right. His short answer tells me we really need to get to break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Don't miss the 8th Annual Wing Fest on Saturday, July 26th at Haymarket Park from 5 till 8 p.m. Local restaurants will be serving wings from 5 to 7 p.m. with live music going until 8. Ice cream and beverages will also be available for purchase, and all the proceeds from the event will go to benefit students in the local community. Get your tickets today at wingfestlincoln.com and make sure you attend the 8th annual Wingfest at Haymarket Park on July 26th.
While folks love all of Hog Wild's award-winning barbecue options, many have a real soft spot for the Carolina pulled pork sandwich. Hog Wild serves their tender, slow-smoked pulled pork on a soft bun and piles it high with tangy coleslaw. There's nothing else on the menu like it. The added bonus? You get to have a side dish like curly fries or baked beans. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top-quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln. Summertime is here, and you know what that means. Grilling season. You know what's more embarrassing than an overcooked piece of meat? Your dirty, disgusting, and grimy grill. Let the pros at Husker Grill Cleaning get you ready for grilling season. They'll take your grill apart piece by piece, scrub every inch, and reassemble it so it can look and perform its best. Visit their website, huskergrillcleaning.com today to schedule your appointment. Husker Grill Cleaning, serving Lincoln, Omaha, Malcolm, and more. Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
At Network Partners in Lincoln, we know a lot of people want to support our troops, but just don't know how. SendACarePackageToday.com connects you with trusted organizations that pack and deliver military care packages. It's super simple. Just point and click. Show your support today. SendACarePackageToday.com is brought to you in part by Network Partners in Lincoln, helping to give our troops the comforts of home they deserve.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
This is the Adam Carricker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carricker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. All right, once again, it's the noon hour, and that means it's lunchtime. The lunch hour of the Adam Carricker Show here on The Ticket is sponsored by our good friends at Mulberry Barbecue, now with 2 locations at 11th and Cornhusker and at 61st and Apples Way, right off of Highway 2 by Lowe's. Both locations are open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Whether a burnt-end sandwich, a brisket burrito, barbecue nachos, a full slab of ribs, half-smoked chicken, and much, much more. Plus incredible sides. Get fuel for lunch today or make dinner plans at Mulberry Barbecue. Located at 11th and Cornhusker and the 61st and Apples Way, just off of Highway 2 by Lowe's. Also, hour 2 of this fine program is brought to you by Suizo Construction. where safety isn't just a policy, it's a promise. Suizo is hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back on and off the job site. Apply today at Suizo.com. 40 years strong in business. Suizo Construction. Again, Suizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com. All right, real quick for you, play that clip on Caitlin Clark. Got another text. Made a good point. You don't need a fullback when you can just put a defensive lineman in and destroy the opposition's soul in goal line and short yardage. All right, Jake, you want to go ahead and roll that clip there for Caitlin, about Caitlin Clark?
Last night I watched, as I was watching the All-Star game, I was on another TV, I was watching Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever. So I've compared her to Michael Jordan, not stylistically, obviously, but in merchandise sales, kind of a dynastic TV rating changer. And in year one, like you just were like, wow, nobody plays like that. And then in year two, Michael Jordan got hurt. And then in year two for Caitlin Clark, she's getting banged up and hurt. Why did MJ always get hurt early? Because they were tackling him. Nobody knew how to stop him. And the WNBA officiating is just changed. Like it was always a physical league. Now it's insane. So last night she gets hurt again and she's in a shooting slump. And I think a lot of it is she's banged up in year two, like Michael Jordan. And Michael was fighting to come back and she's fighting to come back and she re-injured a groin. So she's still scoring and still a team leader and assists, but she's been banged up. And, you know, by the way, her brother went to social media last night. No lies told. Colin Clark said, make no mistake, this is on the reffing. And even Stephanie White, Fever coach, has noticed it. The officials are just letting a lot of stuff go that almost feels inappropriate. And so she's probably hurt again. And again, it has an MJ feel. Rocket to the moon, year two, a lot of physicality allowed, injuries. Nobody quite knows how to defend her. The Pistons are picking on, the Celtics are picking on MJ, who's dropping 50, and Caitlin Clark now is alienating some of the players. And Hollywood knows how to handle stars. There's a playbook. But I noticed this when Tiger Woods came to the PGA Tour at the first, or Caitlin Clark, a little turbulence. They don't quite have a playbook on how to do it. And I think that right now they need better officials.
All right, Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, especially you kind of look at the physicality of the league. It's not just Caitlin Clark that's complaining. It's the entire league. And it's not just the players, it's the coaches. There is more of an eye on the league and there's always a way, a certain way to go about playing basketball, and you have to adjust to how the referees are feeling that day. You don't want them to take too much of the way that the gameplay is going. I appreciate allowing, a little bit of physicality to allow teams that might need to use that to stay in a ball game. But I mean, the overall consensus is that it's just too high and out of control. And then Caitlin Clark obviously is going to, anytime any of these things happen to Caitlin Clark, it's going to cause highlights and a media craze and all because of that, because of what Caitlin Clark brings to it. So it is interesting, her specifically kind of being targeted here, but it's kind of a league-wide thing.
I thought it was interesting, the parallels he made to Jordan. Obviously, their offensive games are very, very different, especially early on in Jordan's career, incredibly different. But teams turn to, they're both kind of finesse players in their own unique way, right? Or especially early on in their careers. Teams aren't really able to defend them the best. So what do teams go to? They go to being as physical as they can be. And just like in year two with Jordan, he got banged up. He missed some games. He got hurt. Kind of same things happening here with Caitlin Clark a little bit. I don't even fault the game plan of the opposing teams. If you can't beat somebody with skill, hit them in the mouth within whatever the rules of that particular sport and their game are. Hit them in the mouth and see how they respond. Turn it into a physical game. Turn it into a mental game. Like, sports isn't just about how well you can dribble and shoot. There's a lot more that goes into it. How well do you handle everything we can throw at you? And what will the refs let us get away with? If the refs are going to be lenient, I'd take advantage of that. Within the rules of the game, whatever the refs will allow you to do, I would absolutely 100% take advantage of each and everything I possibly could. I would never go out of bounds. I would never try to do anything dirty. But if it's within the rules and the refs are letting us do it, hey, that ain't my problem. We're going to do it. We're going to try to win this game, and we're going to see how you react, how you bounce back. Jordan, we know how he bounced back over time. You know, he got in the weight room. He got stronger. He got mentally stronger as well. Ends up winning 6 rings, knocks the Pistons out after the Pistons have won back-to-back titles. Then he finally beats and gets over the Celtic hump as well, beats the Lakers to win his first championship, then goes on to win, obviously, 5 more after that. Caitlin Clark is in the thick of it right now. And I thought it was interesting because I saw some parallels, and then I heard this clip from Colin about how people try to defend. They go really physical. The refs allowing it to happen. It's almost like people are trying to build the plane while they're flying it when they're trying to figure out how to handle Jordan early on and Caitlin Clark early on. And right now, Caitlin's a little bit beat up. She's frustrated. You can see her getting mad at the refs. You can see her getting frustrated with things. And she's in a bit of a shooting slump. If I'm an opposing team right now, I'm saying, hey, we're doing something right. Hey, we're doing something right because she's struggling. Now, she's still leading the league in assists and everything else. It's not like she all of a sudden can't do anything. Like, she's still a really good overall all-around player. But when you think of certain players, you think of scoring and shooting, and that's what you think of when you think of Caitlin Clark. She can do other things as well. It's interesting, though. I remember going back, I looked this up, remembering Michael Jordan's freeze out at the 1985 All-Star game. Basically, Isaiah Thomas led the other All-Star players on his team. They kind of froze him out. Not kind of, they froze him out. And I don't think Jordan ever forgot that, because if you watched what was that documentary on Jordan? Last Dance. I mean, it pretty much came out that the reason Isaiah Thomas wasn't on the 1992 Dream Team was because Jordan didn't want him on the team. And if you're putting together the Dream Team and Jordan, I don't know if this happened, but let's just say, it's plausible. Let's just say Jordan goes, if he's on the team, I'm not. Well, who you choosing? You choosing Michael Jordan or anybody else, honestly? So it's interesting how things play out over time. I'm curious, 2 years down the road, let's just say Caitlin's healthy. She's playing well. Maybe she wins the title. Maybe she gets in the room and in the weight room, gets a little bit stronger, whatever the case may be. Now, she was left off the Olympics team last year? What was the team? She was left off a team last year. The Olympics team? Maybe what goes around comes around, and maybe she remembers some of these things, and maybe she's like, hey, me or not, whoever the other person may or may not be. I don't know. It's kind of curious. I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out in the long term. I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out as it parallels certain things that happened to Jordan over the course of time as well. Am I saying she's going to win 6 rings and be the greatest of all time, either in the WNBA or otherwise? No, I'm not. But she is incredibly intriguing, and she's brought more eyeballs to the WNBA, and more people are talking about it and going to games than have ever been there. And I know that doesn't please everybody. And there's been a long list of players who played before her who helped build the foundation of the league too. I'm just curious how this plays out, because I see a lot of parallels to what happened to Jordan early on. How does she handle it? How does she handle it mentally? How does she bounce back physically? Is it too much for her? Is it not? Sometimes it's too much for people, certain things. Jordan may be the biggest mental monster we've ever seen in the history of sports. Like a mental freaking assassin. How does Caitlin Clark respond? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
While folks love all of Hog Wild's award-winning barbecue options, many have a real soft spot for the Carolina pulled pork sandwich. Hog Wild serves their tender, slow-smoked pulled pork on a soft bun and piles it high with tangy coleslaw. There's nothing else on the menu like it. The added bonus? You get to have a side dish like curly fries or baked beans. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Hopefully you and I agree that you should do everything you can to save your marriage. Divorce is hard, expensive, and its outcome is usually not all you hope for. However, when doing everything has failed, when divorce remains as your last option, consider Cordell & Cordell as your first choice to help you through the divorce process to a better place on the other side. We've been a partner men can count on for more than 30 years. Let us be that partner for you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 402-858-3220. That's 402-858-3220. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in downtown Lincoln. 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508.
An hour ago, you didn't need a plumber. Now you're in a panic. When life throws you a surprise with a clogged drain, plugged or leaky toilet, broken pipe, leaky faucet or water heater, or a bathroom or kitchen plumbing upgrade, whatever. Just call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Keep that number handy, 467-1111. Or go to BryantLincoln.com. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
We interrupt this commercial break for an important story.
There once was a man from Nebraska who went searching for food in Alaska. When his stomach was rumbling while laying in bed, he could think of only one option, Führer's cheese spread. So he left it once and drove day and night to return back home for cheese spread delight. Now his stomach is full and the voice in his head tells him no more vacations without Führer's cheese spread. Find yours today at most local grocers. Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com. Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
This is the Adam Carricker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carricker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. All right, current Husker, Caleb Benning, had some interesting things to say recently, I thought. He said, and I quote, "Real dangerous. I've seen big strides from last year bringing guys like Isaiah Hunter. Real deep threat. Dane Key catches everything thrown his way," said Benning. Also mentioned others like Ja'Cory Barney and Emmett Johnson among those as playmakers on offense. He also said tight end Luke Lindenmeyer is another guy Benning likes going up against. All right. So what are your thoughts on what Benning had to say? I mean, he literally, kind of the guys we project to start at the skill position spots, he pretty much listed them all. So I don't think there were any surprises there. But when you talk about big strides from last year to this year, when you bring in guys like Isaiah Hunter, who's a deep threat, something we did not consistently have last year. Dane Key, he says, catches everything thrown his way. I didn't feel like we had a guy last year who could go up and consistently win a one-on-one ball. You couldn't just, hey, let's throw it up. You know, the shoulder, backside shoulder towards the sideline. Either he catches it or it goes out of bounds, but the odds are he's going to catch it. We didn't have one of those guys a year ago. Then he talks about Barney and Emmett and Luke Lindenmeyer. So what are your thoughts on his comments there?
Well, it's interesting because it's so fascinating because it's basically if Key and Hunter can be and live up to what we expected last year from Banks and Nair. You know, Nair should be that deep threat. Like Banks was pretty reliable as far as getting the ball to him. But if they could kind of take that step up another level and get a few more it's a big question, but I mean, those guys hovered around 450, somewhere around that, get around 650, 700 yards, each one of those guys. That could be, again, a huge difference maker in what this offense can do. And then if there are bigger threats, you have a deep field threat, you have a consistent, guy that's going to catch the ball, then that opens things up for Ja'Cory Barney. Then that opens up things for Emmett Johnson. So again, it all kind of works hand in hand. And so just adding one more or two more players that elevate the level of play there. And then, of course, you get to the blocking of the wide receivers. Hopefully they can do that a little bit better as well. It can really just open things up for the talent that they already had on board here with the Huskers.
You make a phenomenal point. Can Key and Hunter just be what we wanted Banks and Nayor to be a year ago? Can they just be that? If they can be that, our passing game will be significantly improved and our offense will be significantly improved. When you can't stretch a defense vertically, you can't get off man press, and the defense knows they can just man press, single high safety, or even go zero coverage and bring the house if they want, because you're not uber concerned about Dylan breaking out. By the way, I do think Dylan is faster than people realize. Like, if you watch him, the few times he takes off and just goes. Now, there's some times he's kind of taking off and buying time and trying to throw downfield, or if he just goes, I think he's actually faster than people realize. I'm not saying he's Michael Vick. I'm saying he's faster than people realize. And I've thought that since day one. But there was no real threat or anything that scared defenses last year. So if we can have more of a realistic outside threat, then you got Ja'Cory Barney underneath and you got Emmett Johnson. I think there are some things that can cause defensive coordinators to lose some sleep. I want to see those defensive coordinators showing up on game day with those little bags under their eyes, because they didn't sleep that great the couple nights before. I'm going to be looking for that next fall. Are there bags under their eyes, or are they just looking perky and happy, which means they slept great all week? I don't want to see that. I want to see tired DCs on the other side. Luke Lindenmeyer is an interesting one to me. Projected to be the starter, good tight end, workhorse type guy. How can you not be a fan of this guy? As far as a pass catching threat, what's realistic to expect out of him this year, in your opinion?
Oh, man, that's a tough, because it just depends on so much of Heinrich Haarberg. I don't know if Luke Lindenmeyer is going to remain the number one tight end, how much involved he will be. But I mean, he did show, had a few plays there late in the season where he proved he could be a threat. But I don't know.
You're having a hard time.
Because I think Haarberg has a higher ceiling. So if Haarberg,
as a pass catcher,
right?
Yeah.
So if he really can fulfill that, then I don't know if it's great that Luke Lindenmeyer has 40 catches. I mean, it might be better suited if he gets one or two a game. 12, 15, 20 on the year. If Haarberg steps up, if maybe I'm underwritten Lindenmeyer. Maybe Lindenmeyer turns out to be a bigger tight end. Just as projecting, it feels like Haarberg has more of a ceiling as a pass catcher, which means as a number two tight end, Luke Lindenmeyer could be lost sometimes and still make some big plays, maybe in play action or up the seam where it's less expected.
I think that's a fair point. I think the ceiling is, it's fair to expect that Haarberg's ceiling is a little bit higher as far as a pass catching threat. 240, third fastest guy on the team, and has the highest top end speed, I'm still told. Depends on the length of the race we're talking about here. So yeah, and he's 6'4", 6'5". That's a guy that should be getting the ball thrown to him through the air. And he's not a guy that's afraid to be physical. I actually think if you watch the bowl game, Haarberg blocked. Like, he's going to surprise some people with his physicality at the point of attack. So if he can be the pass catching threat that we're thinking, and maybe be a pretty good blocker, and Lindenmeyer, that Illinois game, that wasn't on him, the pass that wasn't caught, okay? And, Dylan's going to miss some. It's okay. But he was open. He was there. It wouldn't surprise me if we see a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. It also wouldn't shock me. It's been thrown out to me that 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, 1 back, 2 tight ends might be something they do a decent amount. We haven't even talked about Carter Nelson. I know there's some debate about his health. We'll see how that all unfolds throughout camp. But this is another guy that you can put all over the frickin' place. So I'm just curious to see what Holgorsen does with these certain chess pieces. And you make a great point. If Lindenmeyer's got a bunch of catches, hey, awesome for Lindenmeyer. But what's that mean for the wide receivers? What's that mean for Haarberg? What's that mean? Emmett Johnson out of the backfield catching? Are they going to try to not throw him the ball as much because we need him to run the ball more? And so maybe he's not as much of a receiving threat, which is something he brings to the table, by the way, because you're trying to get the ball to these other guys. I'm curious to see, there's only one football, how they try to disperse the ball just a bit. But if we can get what you said, Key and Hunter, to be what we thought Naor and Banks were a year ago, and I'm not trying to slam those guys. They didn't, I mean, they didn't quite do what they wanted to do, I'm sure. But if we can get those guys this year to be what we were hoping for a year ago, that's a big upgrade. And honestly, these guys have the potential. Like Isaiah Hunter averages over 15 yards per reception. Dane Key, 14.5 per catch. We haven't had a receiver do that, Trey Palmer, in a long time. It's been a few years. So if we can just have a deep threat, that opens up everything underneath. And then a guy we haven't talked about much at all, Jacory Barney. He's just hanging around. You know, let's get that guy the rock too as well. So there's a lot of exciting things on the horizon. I'm going to throw out something maybe controversial. What if, think back to last fall, the S word, screens. That was like an abomination to say, right? What if the screen game becomes a strength for this offense? Wide receivers that block, and you get it in the hands of a guy like Jacory Barney in space with good blockers in front of him out on the perimeter. To think about that. I'm just saying, it might be controversial. We're much removed from last fall, so maybe it's not as controversial now. But what do you think about something like that, Jake?
Yeah, I definitely could see that, especially with Barney. Again, that was the surprising thing, is a player that had that big, much of a like breakout potential, only averaged like 8 yards a catch, because a lot of those underneath things didn't, they tried to get in the ball, but it didn't quite work out. Then I'd also like to point out within that wide receiver room, don't forget about Demetrius Bell, who could have been a big contributor last year. Janiron Bonner is kind of a piece you can move around everywhere. You got the young guys, Mose and Mills and Richard. I mean, there's a lot of potential for pass catching. That's why it's hard to point out one guy and say how many catches is he going to get, because there's a lot of potential in that room.
Coaches like Cortez Mills too. I'm just saying. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a phenomenal day. I'll see you fine folks tomorrow. Go Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the bugs.
Hey everyone, this weekend is the Roca Hoedown, sponsored by the Roca Tavern. Friday and Saturday night, indoor and outdoor entertainment, food trucks, and friends, all in downtown Roca. $15 cover charge with the live music starting at 4:30 p.m. We'll see you there.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit,